Alright, you guys, another Monday, another video, and in this one I am really excited to start my sketchbook. So we're going to be tackling the first page together. I really like and enjoy the doodles that I came up with. I don't know, I really just wanted to make something kind of cool and exciting on the first page, and I know that's a lot of pressure, and some people, you know, they kind of have this take of like maybe not wanting to put that pressure on themselves, and sometimes I don't either, but I don't know, the sketches turned out really fucking well, and I was like, you know what, I think I can make this page, this spread, really cool. So if you want to see me paint the spread and hear me chat a little bit about like my thoughts on art goals, that's going to be this video. So I'm Rory Fluent. Feel free to call me Rory. If you're new around here, hi, hello, how are you? Let me know in the comments down below. I like to create dope art content and hopefully curate a chill atmosphere. And if you're not new around here, what is up, my dudes? Let's get into this video. So I know I'm going to say something a little controversial here, but like, who actually needs art goals? So this video isn't necessarily based off of like any evidence. It's not necessarily like one of the video essay videos. That's a lot of videos in one sentence, but you know what I mean, that I did previously. While I do want to do those, I'm thinking they're going to be like a once a month I'll do a deep dive into something, because I'm trying to figure out how YouTube works, and I know that a lot of YouTubers, not just art YouTubers, kind of branch out into a variety of different kinds of content about the same topic. So like, obviously I'm an art channel, but I'm wondering if there are different ways that I can experiment with the way that I present art to you guys and the way that I post it here on YouTube. And so for this video, we're just doing a nice, fun, kind of chatty video, because I have a lot of thoughts on the idea of art goals, and I just think they're a bit strange and not always as helpful as people make them out to be. So normally I would say in like January, we are here on Art YouTube bombarded with these resolutions that are either helpful and inspiring or incredibly overwhelming. And personally, I know myself well enough to understand that these are tricky slopes to fall into, especially because it took me a long time to figure out this about myself. But the ways that I become crippled with sort of like this envy are attributed definitely to watching these art goal videos. So it's like this has stopped me in the past from enjoying art content, because personally I am someone, when I'm watching YouTube, engaging in sort of like the art sphere of YouTube, I find that it can be incredibly difficult to feel good about my art and my goals, and I guess whether or not I've reached them, when there are all these really successful YouTubers, whether they be big or small. I mean, there are content creators that I watch that are about the size of me, and they still sort of impact the way that I view my art and sort of that source of envy, because they are in certain ways more successful, whether it be having been able to go to illustration school or take certain illustration classes, or maybe they've already done an art market and been able to sell their art, which is like a huge overall goal of mine. And so sometimes digesting that content can be incredibly crippling for me, because I know that I do suffer from envy, and it can be really difficult for me to snap out of that. My first year on art YouTube, where I was posting videos and everything, honestly, maybe this first and a half year, like a year and a half, my first year and a half on YouTube, I didn't watch a single ounce of content specifically on art YouTube. Like, I did not go into this sphere that I was trying to integrate myself into. It was too overwhelming. I did a lot of research before I started posting, and I knew what my goals for my videos were, and I knew kind of like this jumping off point and different videos that I really liked and enjoyed, and I wanted to I literally wrote down the different things that I liked about different YouTubers' content and sort of tried to emulate that in my own videos. And obviously those old ones, per usual, I would say every YouTuber honestly kind of says this, but I don't love them, but I felt confident enough at that point to post about my art, but also knew that this sort of thing that I was choosing to do was very fragile, and I could get spooked out of doing it, and I did not want to spook myself out of posting videos. So I took a break from art YouTube and didn't watch it for at least a year. And it was just, I don't know, I was so intimidated by these other YouTubers' success. They have what I want, and knowing that these videos would put me in a fragile headspace, I just really wanted to make sure that I was avoiding that and the potential destruction of this channel, because I have, grown a little bit. We've definitely had some highs and lows, which has been pretty discouraging, especially lately, but that's okay. It's kind of cool because now I'm here, and that crippling, anxiety and envy did not stop me, and I was smart enough, or I should say I knew myself enough to take a step back and not put myself in a position where I would fail. And I knew specifically that these art goal videos have been a particularly difficult thing for me to be able to relax with in the past, because I found it hard to not envy that success that these people have had. And I just didn't want to ruin the progress that I was making in posting my own videos. And I guess, specifically these art goals surrounding topics like being able to go to their first art market, or buy a bunch of supplies that they didn't previously have access to, or go to a Blick store, which I didn't have the ability to do, or whatever it was, or make more videos, or make content in this specific way. It was like the fact that they had the luxury to do that was overwhelming for me, because I'm chilling in my room, the same room I've had for years and years, in my parents' house, with some art supplies and an art desk they got me for Christmas, and I just had finally bit the bullet and decided that I wanted to start posting, and I did not want to ruin that fragile state of mind by watching the art content and consuming that kind of content. And art goals specifically were a huge, totally stepped away from them, didn't want any part of them. I knew that they would just be discouraging for me in the mental state that I'm normally in when I'm watching art videos. One of the main things that I kind of got out of starting my own YouTube channel was a reason to paint, and I did not want to take away that reason by feeling like I wasn't good enough to film these videos, or I wasn't going to make good enough content, or whatever it was. And personally, I'm a very confident person, so this isn't necessarily a way that I approach things in my day-to-day life, but something about my artwork and the ability to compare it to other people's art is just, it puts me in a very vulnerable state, I think, and one that I'm not super familiar with how to navigate. And so, as I've said multiple times already, I just refused to put myself in that state because I did not want to ruin this good thing that I was very, very excited to start. And I'm still very excited to have. And nowadays, I can consume this content. And that's something that I kind of also wanted to talk about, and one of the things that sparked this discussion within me in the first place. I mentioned that these videos like to crop up around January time, but they are also videos that people make specific to sketchbooks. And because I predominantly work only in my sketchbook, I mean, honestly, entirely in my sketchbook or on Procreate, but even that I've sort of neglected lately because I have all this fun new art supplies that I've been loving, and the tactility of acrylics and gouache, and kind of finally figuring out that texture that I had rambled on and on about in the beginnings of my YouTube, finally being able to have that. I've been a little bit less prone to jumping onto Procreate because I have found a way to keep that tactility and texture within my illustration work. Oh my god, no. It's all illustration, digital or traditional, but what I mean is that I've finally found it in my traditional work. But because, again, of the nature of this kind of content and these goals being specific to sketchbooks, that was another reason that I sort of stayed away, because my content was really solely just painting in my sketchbook. And so many different people have so many different thoughts on what a sketchbook should be used for, obviously, specifically artists. And I really like to create all kinds of work in my sketchbook. All of it ends up being painted because that's just what I like to do and what I like to practice. Some people just keep pencil sketches. Some people sketch in different kinds of mediums like ballpoint pen or erasable colored pencils. And for me, I like to complete a sketch from start to finish by painting it and rendering it fully. And so this was just another one of those things where the topics that I liked to cover and the things that I liked to do within my sketchbook, I didn't want them being impacted by other people's sketchbook videos. And, those sketchbook videos were always tied very closely to the types of goals that these people wanted to finish and complete. And there are certain people that I've found incredibly helpful lately in terms of like sketchbook tours and art goals. Little Star Nerd is specifically one that is very relatable because she really doesn't hold herself, or they, I should say, don't hold themselves to the goals that they set. And that's actually what literally started this video for me, was this thought I had of like, if you're going to make art goals, then well, I guess if you're gonna make them, why aren't you finishing them? And if you know yourself well enough to know you're not gonna finish them, then why are you making them? Like I mentioned, sketchbooks to me are like the whole shebang. I do whatever the fuck I want. I'll do a finished illustration. I'll do sketches. I personally like to fully render my sketches because I'm always practicing painting, because that is the big thing that I'm the newest to in my art journey, believe it or not. I've only been painting for about 5 years. I've been sketching and completing sketchbooks for over a decade. But that being said, I love my sketchbook and I do very specific things in my sketchbook, and I have held myself to art goals before. I think they can be helpful, but sometimes I just don't understand what their damn purpose is. I find sketchbook goals to be pretty weird. I don't know. I've done them for a while and I never really feel a sense of accomplishment when I have like completed my sketchbook goals. Like, I don't know. I feel like it's like all up to interpretation unless I like somehow, ask you guys, I suppose, to like hold me accountable for my sketchbook goals or whatever. But I find that they're just very limiting in a way, and also just discouraging in of themselves. Like, I don't know, I feel like they put you in like a bit of a box of like, well, I guess I'm stuck trying to do this now. And it's like, if you make them really, really broad, then are they really like a goal? And like, also you could just twist the things that you've done to fit into that goal depending on how broad it is. So I find like individual sketchbook goals to be weird. So like when I look back at my old sketchbooks, I feel like I always had like the same set of goals, right? Like, I always wanted to experiment with texture. I wanted to find a way to make my traditional art look like my digital art in terms of texture. I wanted to use watercolor and alcohol markers and just sort of continue pushing that experimentation through my mediums that I was working. And like they all kind of, I don't know, they all fit under this umbrella of like, I don't know, experiment, make good art, have, you know, fun little guys that I can laugh at in my sketchbook. Like, there was very little tangibility, I feel, to these art goals. And while I think they're a good, like, mindset to have, or, like, things to keep in mind, I just don't feel the need to write them down in my sketchbook or make them some huge deal, which I have done in the past. Like, I've made, you know, sketchbook goal videos, or even just sort of, like, January, you know, this year videos, and, like, what my goals are. And it's, like, I feel like it's always the same. I want to experiment. I want to make better art. I want to make fun little guys, and I want to, you know, make sure that I am adding that goddamn texture into my pieces. One of the other things that sort of prompted, I guess, this video that I was sort of subconsciously thinking about, I think I didn't have like a ton of thoughts, but as I was making this, I was like, you know, I've like completed that major goal. I have done it. I have started working in acrylic and working with gouache, and you guys will see the acrylic video here after this one. I believe my second page in the sketchbook is exploring acrylics, and it's like I literally have done it through gouache and acrylic gouache and acrylic and these markers and layering watercolors, and it's like I've finally accomplished having that texture in my traditional art. I love it. I love this page and the way that it turns out, and I'm not even using the acrylics. I'm just using acrylic gouache, watercolor, and good old normal gouache. And it's like, look what I'm able to accomplish. Look what I've done. But I didn't necessarily, or I don't necessarily have a specific goal for this sketchbook. I don't have some like big long spiel to give about what I want it to be. I just want to continue pushing myself and experimenting. And that's just not even a sketchbook goal. That's just an overall art goal. I would like to experiment. I would like to feel comfortable stretching myself out of my comfort zone and be able to make art that looks like my art when I am out of my comfort zone. That's always something I've struggled with. With this spread specifically, you know, I drew a bear. I haven't done a lot of those. I've done some, but, you know, it's a pretty new thing to me. And then I drew like a star-nosed mole. That's new. Do I love him? Yes. I think he's an adorable little guy. I'm very excited about that mole face in the bottom corner there with his giant ass eyeball. I just feel like he ends up turning out super awesome. And my point with all of this is that in my first page of this sketchbook, I've completed something that has been in my art goals for ages. And it's not necessarily that I didn't experiment or didn't figure out ways to have texture in my other sketchbooks. Because of that goal and because I was always pushing myself, I did. And I've finally gotten to this point where I'm like, you know what? I think I just need to use different mediums. I used to be solely watercolor. Sometimes I would use my Copic markers and add like texture and detail. And over time, I started exposing myself to so many different artists, and all of these artists use these, I don't know, various mediums. And honestly, I don't actually watch anybody who uses acrylics. I just happened to wander into a Michaels, and the Michaels that I have here at my new house, which is, you know, I had a whole move, if you didn't know, and I am now in a completely different state, and so I'm kind of learning my way around the area, and I have a giant ass Michaels next to a Target, and I fucking love Target, okay? So every time I go to Target, you know my ass is in that Michaels. And it is so cool because I've gotten like so many interesting little trinkets from Michaels, shit that I can like hang on my walls and hang paint from. And I'm hoping to do a studio tour when I'm all done. I'm ordering currently like little prints and things from different artists that I find inspiring, especially ones that I've been with and sort of been watching and consuming content from for like years and years. But I also have a couple new ones, and I even have like a huge piece of original art coming because I had saved up a lot of money for this move, and I wanted to be able to decorate my studio room and make it a space that was 100%, you know, like creative energy. And so all of that to say that I also in that Michaels got some acrylic paints, because I went into the paint aisle and I went, oh my god, there's paint everywhere. It's everywhere. It's literally like raining from the ceilings. This is so cool. And I picked up 3 or 4 acrylics in some weird colors that I didn't have in my acrylic gouache or watercolors or whatever. And so I picked them up and I was like, this is really cool. I can make some chunky texture with this. And so I built off of what I did with this page and just continued to really layer things up. And I didn't necessarily have, something to like cross off a list or, sit here and go, I've completed the art goals for this sketchbook and I just fucking started it. That's not what I ended up doing. I just slowly through the process of this tiny sketchbook realized that I was completing this goal, and I kind of just had like a bunch of thoughts about that, and I was sort of interested in the fact that I didn't feel the need to make art goals for this sketchbook. I sort of went into it full well knowing that all I wanted to do was make art that would be successful to me, successful to YouTube, and hopefully I would be good enough that I would be comfortable selling it. And that's what I would like to continue to do here in this sketchbook. I personally just feel like sketchbook goals are just too small for what I want to do, I want to open an Etsy shop. I want to sell art. I want to open a Patreon. Even if it's just like $3 a month and you just get some like digital content and an extra video. I want to be able to do that. And then I want to be able to open up a tier where I'm selling little prints, or not selling, but like every month you guys get new little prints, and I'm like super excited. I have this idea. I've been watching a lot of Art with M, I believe is the name of her channel, and she's, oh my god, what a lovely person, I would just like to say, and what a wonderful illustrator. But she does collage work, which is a whole other thing that I'm going to talk about because I did a video doing collage. I was so inspired. But that being said, this artist, M, I guess is what I would call her. Art with M is her channel, and it's like she makes these like 3D buildable things for people, and I absolutely adored in my graphic design degree building the little models that I had to for packaging design. And I would love to be able to design something on Patreon for people, probably like another tier up or something, for like $7 or $10 a month, or who knows. And it's like, I can build this thing and make a template and a video showing you how to build this thing that I made from start to finish, and you can print it off in your home printer or whatever it is, and you can build it too. Like, even if it's just like a little interactable thing, or I don't know, like I have these ideas. I have this idea for like a sardine can, because I like, again, this is like a whole video, but I collaged like sardines in a sardine can, and I really want to create that into like a Patreon interactable thing where like you could like open the tin and there are your sardines and you can like pull them out of the tin. And I don't know, I have all these ideas. I'm so inspired, and that is so much more than a sketchbook. So I'm just like not making sketchbook goals. I don't find that they have a purpose, and I often find that a lot of people who make them then make videos once they finish the sketchbook, and all they do is talk about how they didn't finish any of their art goals. And then they'll have videos talking about how they're sort of like stuck because they didn't finish their art goals, or feel like they have to do this thing. And it's like, no, I don't have to experiment. That's just like a part of me nowadays. That's just like what I want to do with my art, is like experiment with texture. that's like the most exciting thing ever. Like doing that collage, I will 100% be collaging more shit because that was so cool. Like the tactility of collage is just super exciting to me. And again, I have a video coming after this one that's gonna be about acrylics, and it's like, look what I was able to do with acrylic gouache, normal gouache, and some watercolor. Like, and look at all the fun little textures and the fur detail in the mole, and like I have these fun little like newt guys getting pulled apart, and then like the cool bear that I drew with the eyeballs coming out of his back, and like that's just really exciting, and I'm really stoked about the way that this spread ends up coming out. Gel Arts is someone here on YouTube that I have loved for so long, so many years, at least 5+ years, honestly. And I feel like one of my favorite things that they do is create these sketchbook spreads, and then she actually like uploads them, like scans them or whatever, and she'll sell them as like printed pieces, but like as a sketchbook collage. Like that's so cool. I want to do that. I think I make pretty cool spreads. I'm sure you guys will let me know if you think otherwise, but it's like I would love to sell this little spread, maybe tweak it a little bit on like Procreate, or I have Affinity Designer that I could edit the colors and things, and Affinity like Photo or something like that. I don't know. I have all of those apps, and it's like I want to be able to like not only have the tactility of this texture, but I want to have the tangibility of being able to like know that there are people out there that want my work, and being able to print it and give it to you guys and sell it, and who knows, have a Patreon and have sort of like this system every month of things that I always get to create. I always get to create a postcard or some stickers, and I always get to create an extra video, and you know, all of these different things that will be on the different tiers. And I'm really, really excited to have the opportunity to start being able to do that. And this sketchbook is just sort of like the start of that. I don't know, I have a lot of momentum, if you can't tell, coming from this sketchbook, because I feel like I am reaching this art goal that has been like my goal for so long, and it you know, surpassed so many sketchbooks, and I just always put it on there, something that I wanted to be able to achieve, something that I wanted to do. And lo and behold, in this tiny ass sketchbook, I couldn't even tell you, it's like 3 by 4 inches, maybe a little bit more, maybe 4 by 6. Yeah, I'm thinking a 4 by 6 inch sketchbook, which if you've known me for a while and you've seen my content, I am just like shrinking my sketchbooks, which I don't know what that's about. I don't know why I started gravitating towards smaller and smaller. I really love Be Creative paper. That's the normal sketchbook kind of situation that I like. And they have like an 8.5 by 11, and I kind of started on that, and I've just slowly shrunk it, and I went to like an 8.5 by 5.5, and then I did this Arches one, which was like 4 by 12 or something like that. That weird like landscape, which I ended up making portrait because I just could not stand working in landscape. I realized that that is not what I am made for, and I do not enjoy it at all. And now I'm here in this 4 by 6 tiny thing, and it's sort of interesting because I'm actually really enjoying the way that I can fly through the sketchbook pages, but at the same time I kind of miss being in a bigger sketchbook. So I have purchased one that I think is just your standard paper size, 8.5 by 11, and I'm excited to start being able to use that. But obviously I've just started this tiny thing, and I'm actually really excited to bring it to completion and continue on in this sketchbook because it's just going so well for me. another thing that a lot of people like to bring up is sort of like this first page anxiety of like not knowing what to do with the first page. Some people skip it entirely, and I've definitely been there, that's for sure. And I don't necessarily put like, I don't know, a ton of pressure on myself to make good art in like for the first page. I don't feel like it's any more or less stressful than your average sketchbook page or my average sketchbook page, because I try to make just like very good, clean, finished art. Definitely not clean, but I should say finished art in every sketchbook. That's why I render everything, and you know, I just enjoy the practice of being able to kind of start a little illustration from start to finish, even if it's just a tiny doodle or whatever it was. And so yeah, when it came to this actual page, I was kind of stoked, and I think it's why I have a lot of sort of energy, because this is a couple weeks old now, this video, but I'm voicing it over right now, and it's like I still have that momentum that carried through this first page, because I liked this first page that much. Like, I felt like I was just, I don't know, I was successful in what I went and set out to achieve. I loved the sketches. I didn't feel like I did them dirty by painting them, which is always something that I battle, because I feel like I can sketch a lot better than I can paint. But this sketchbook spread kind of made me feel like maybe that's not so true anymore, which is so exciting. I know I say that, I start like every video by saying I'm super excited about it, but like I am so excited about this particular spread, because I still don't even know. I think it wasn't until just recently that I felt like I topped this spread, and that's like 5 or 6 other spreads into this little sketchbook. And I know, as a like pause moment for a second, I am like flying through this little thing, so let's hope that I can keep up the pace and have tons of extra content, because I would love to be able to keep a cushion and, I don't know, kind of be able to pick and choose what videos I make. You know, maybe I won't have to use all of the content that I film, but at the same time, no matter what, it's still really cool to have a buffer and just kind of feel as on top of things as I am right now. And I do kind of feel like part of this momentum might be because I did super well in my sketchbook, my first sketchbook page. And I know that kind of sucks, because it's like something that scares a lot of people, myself included, but I feel like I just have this wave of energy, and I'm riding the high of my first first spread in my sketchbook being as successful as this one was. And I don't know, like, it's even weird because like I sketched this like 2 weeks before I ended up painting it, which is always a bad sign for me. That's never good. But I was trying to continue to fill this sketchbook and use this sketchbook as I was moving, and I was trying to kind of get a head start on content. So that's why quite a few of these you won't see like the actual sketching process, and that's because I sketched them, you know, cramped in a small space in my parents' kitchen, because my room was totally, you know, empty, and, you know, trying to just get these sketchbook spreads started so I could have a jump start filming. And normally that is just an absolute, what's it called? Like when it's just a total goner, like totally done. Like normally that is a death sentence. That's the word I'm looking for. That is a death sentence for normal spreads. I cannot start sketching a spread, leave it alone, come back to it, and then paint it. But I guess I can't really say that anymore, because this turned out great. So maybe I just have to sketch it and then leave it for like a really long time, and then I can come back to it. But either way, I mean, I've been sketching and immediately painting recently, and that's been going very well too. So I just think I'm having a good time. This sketchbook is just, I don't know, it's feeling good, it's feeling right, and like things are going really well. And that's just, that was a really good note to start on for this spread, because that's not something that I can always say for not only my spreads, but my whole ass sketchbooks. Like, I'm loving what I'm doing right now, and that's really exciting. So if you've made it this far into the video, that is gonna be it. I really appreciate those of you who kind of stay until this last rambly bit. Again, I'm continuing with this longer form, trying to just, I don't know, have a good chatty time with you guys. I know there are some moments where I fill it with music, but that's because I just don't think that I can talk for 33 minutes straight. It's just not really possible, even though I am a chatterbox, if you couldn't tell. but now I'm starting to ramble. So if you've made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to do the YouTube things, like comment and subscribe. If you don't know what to comment algorithm because it helps a ton. And hopefully I will get to talk to you on the next one. Bye!